He's here in spirit.
Yeah, we're trying. Brian is having some technical difficulties.
For once, it's not us.
Yeah, it's true. It is not us. So behind the scenes, Matthew Baxter and Brian Brushwood are desperately trying to break into this podcast. We'll see. And also, this is not a podcast until it is later.
It will become a podcast, yeah.
We hope, right? Yeah. Exactly. It's I don't know the Latin, but it's in potential a podcast. So
yeah.
So thank you for joining us live, if you did.
And I can't see anyone in the chat room yet, but I'm sure they'll join us soon. Or maybe they came in and then left.
Maybe they came in because it's 9:00. Where those bozos at? They're not here. I guess they're somewhere else. So I'll go there. And that's
technical troubles again. That's what they're thinking.
Yeah, but the cool thing is, if you subscribe to Monster Talk's live stream by going to youtube.com/Monster Talk, then you can join us live every time. You'll get a little notification automatically when we go live. That's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, and we're being joined by some viewers.
There are people. Hello, people. So if you're just joining, we are waiting for Brian Brushwood to join us. He's having some technical difficulties. Mm-hmm. His are computer related. Mine are speech and vodka related. So
not terribly bad.
No, not so much. So we have a bunch of questions for Brian, but Brian's not here. I
could ask you instead, Blake.
Well, you can ask me all about Brian's career, what Brian's magic tricks. I know all the behind the scenes stuff. So yeah, absolutely.
You do, yeah.
So so we're flying without a script here. That's okay.
It's typical for us, though, isn't it?
Yeah, we've talked extemporaneously several times in our career, so that's no problem. Well, we could talk about what we're working on. I know, like, for one thing, we're getting ready to deal with The Exorcist for our Based on a True Story series.
Yeah, I'm excited about that, and Matt's really excited about this one.
He's very excited. He loves that movie.
This is his favorite movie, and I think he first watched it when he was about 6. So yeah, we're going to hear lots of stories about that. But I think we had to decide whether we wanted to talk about exorcisms in movies in general or to break that up, because there are just so many movies about exorcisms and exorcists, and it's such an interesting topic. So I think we needed to keep that to itself, and then maybe we can do other movies in future.
Guess what we have? Theoretically, we have a Brushwood joining us. Let's see if that's true or not. Well, or not. That's pretty exciting. What we have here is a situation where we've got Brian Brushwood joining us with no audio or video. So for Brian's first trick.
I think there's a trick behind this. This is some kind of illusion.
I'm not so sure. So maybe I should kick him out of here because he's cramping our style. I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I'm gonna take him out. We'll see. And that's nothing against again. Brian, but he can try again. So that was an unsuccessful attempt for Brian to hijack our feed. But so anyway, so my thought was, maybe we're just doing this live here. So I think maybe one thing we could do is possibly split this episode up into 2 halves. Because there's really 2 topics. You've got the exorcism case that the story is based on. I don't know that it really is, but sort of inspired by, maybe better. And then and then you've got the movie itself, which has lots of interesting movie facts, but it also is allegedly cursed.
That's right. Yeah. I mean, a number of accidents and deaths associated with that. But that the original story, I used to be able to remember all of the details, but I think it happened in Maryland, wasn't it? And it was
it's right outside of Washington, D.C.
Right. And it was a kid who I think was experiencing all different kinds of things. But I mean, we're going to be getting into this pretty soon.
Yeah, we'll cover that later. But it starts in Maryland, in the D.C. area, and then moves to St. Louis for the finalization of that story.
Well, I think the great thing about the true story is all the documentation that exists about it. I mean, there's the legend and the folklore, but then there is a lot of documentation. and certainly a lot of good articles that are out there about people who know the truth, and journalists who've gone digging and found out a lot of interesting information that's behind the scenes.
Absolutely. And so we're doing a lot of research and planning around that. I'm trying to find some of the original newspaper articles. It's interesting. They were covered by the Washington Post, but I haven't been able to track the digital archives back to the original stories.
Well, I've got a copy of that for you then.
Oh, cool. Fantastic. Okay, cool.
It is a hell of a lot to research with this. It's just really
it is. Yeah, it's an interesting story. It really is. And of course, like all these sort of demon stories, you have to kind of filter you have to look at what the sources are for the stories. So I think there's a lot of pressure from some parts for the demons to be real. And then there's a lot of pressure from sort of science and skepticism for them not to be real. And so just sort of figuring out exactly what's really going on, it's going to be a really interesting ride, I think. So probably looking at 2 episodes on that at least.
I think so, yeah. And then more on exorcisms and later movies.
So I have lots I could talk about that I'm working on. I don't know if you want to throw anything out. So, how's your book coming on? Let's
plug my book. Well, finally they've come up with the cover. We had lots of hiccups along the way, but finally the cover is out. So the book is available for pre-order on Amazon and through Cambridge University Press website as well. And it's a reasonable price. I really had to bargain with them. Initially, they wanted to release the book in hardcover only, and you know how academic books can be. It would have come out for $150 a pop. So it's coming out in paperback first, and
what's your book called again?
So it's On the Offensive Prejudice and Language.
I love it.
Yes, so do I. Prejudice and Language, Past and Present, and it's basically about racism and sexism and ageism and all the different isms, and just looks at the history and etymology behind a lot of terms that we use today. And we think, oh, well, why is that offensive? People find a lot of terms offensive. Why is that the case? So this really just goes into a lot of detail, looking at just common everyday language that we use that is offensive.
Excellent. That sounds very offensive. So I look forward to reading it.
Didn't mean to offend you. But yeah, so that's finally coming out. It's coming out in October, but it is available for pre-order now. And,
cool.
With everything that's been happening, all the current events and everything in the news of late, it's pretty topical stuff.
Yes, it is. I don't think we need to dig into it right now, but we, what have we here? Someone is trying to join again. I'm going to try letting them in. Let's see if we can get anything. Ooh, getting a countdown. 3, 2, 1.
Well,
this is reminding me horribly of my wedding night. Okay.
Let down.
It's like we never could get that third party involved, right? So no, it's like
well, we can always postpone Brian's appearance on the show. We could always do that next week.
Or he could just keep not appearing over and over again.
Yeah.
This is it's like Waiting for Godot, but way more literary. So that's good.
And literal, yeah.
So you've got so I'm excited about your book. That's very cool.
Yeah, I'm excited too. And so I'm what else are you working on then? Are you working on anything that's skeptical related?
Oh yeah. So
paranormal related outside of based on a true story.
Well, right. I'm running late by a couple of weeks. I have a chapter for a book that is supposed to come out. You remember about a year ago, I went to Texas for a monster conference. Yeah. Well, yes, exactly. Yeah. So is it? I think I'm going to mess this up, but I think it's University of Texas San Marcos, if I remember correctly. Okay. If I don't remember that, I apologize. I know there's Texas Tech is in Lubbock. Is that right? And the university. Yeah, I think that's right.
Yeah, but there's also University of Texas around Texas.
Also, it's one of those things. It's like when I make a mistake, I like to own it. But Joe Laycock and Natasha Michaels, not Mickles. I've been saying it wrong this whole time. It's a long time. Sorry, Natasha. But they put together this really cool monster conference in Texas. And it was of gods and monsters. And it was mostly religious studies people, but they also let me come talk, which was great. And
And you were talking about monster flaps, wasn't it?
I was talking about monster flaps, and so now I've been trying to finish up my paper so that it could be submitted as a potential book chapter that I'm trying to put together. But in the process of trying to finish up the paper, I ran into a bunch of material that was really interesting. So I've been modeling monster flaps along the lines of a virus and the way they spread. And
yeah, you had lots of examples, and because I looked at the draft paper and
wait for it. Yeah, it's grown. I'd feel better if we actually had video before I add him to the stream, but I'm going to try again.
Okay.
It's going to go 3, 2, 1. And then there we are again. This is so heartbreaking.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can yell to Matt, but you could tell him that he's appearing with no audio or video. So, or text him or something.
Yeah, I'm texting him.
All right. But what's happening is in the course of editing or writing on the paper, I found a whole bunch of information, and so I've been doing a lot of research around memetics, viral transmission, folklore, ostension, diffusion studies, and it's just so interesting, and it kind of relates to my technology book I'm working on. So I've had to sort of draw a line in the sand and say I've got to finish this paper. I could keep studying this forever because really what I'm really interested in.
You've got a word limit or something, because that will
there is a 7,000 word limit. Yeah, exactly. So I have to kind
pretty
of cut
short.
It is.
When it comes to academic papers, I mean, they can go into 12,000 words, 15,000 words.
Yeah. So
we're trying again.
We are. we are indeed. So I have a lot of questions for Invisible Brian.
No, me too.
So, Brian, before you got into magic, are you going to answer my questions? He's not. Damn it.
Disappearing act.
So, yes, exactly. Maybe have we tried cutting Brian in half?
Oh, yeah. I don't think that would go too well.
No, not so much. I feel so bad because he's trying earnestly to get in here.
He is, yeah, and we did do a test earlier on, and that went well. So
yeah, if you're interested in the technology background here, there were a lot of permission issues around Brian joining. That since he runs his business primarily through video, he was reluctant to join with the requirements that we have here. I agreed. We set him up with a simple guest account, but he's having trouble getting his video and audio to actually be available. So if he works that out, we're more than willing to let him in. He's joined once again with no video or audio. So maybe I'll just leave him there in the lobby until he sort of works that out. You could tell. In fact, you could tell that to Matthew if you want to, that Brian's in the lobby, but we can't see him or hear him. If he gets that working, we'll add him to the feed. So yeah. I'm looking at the comments over here. Anyway,
this is riveting stuff.
Oh, it's absolutely. No, I mean, the research on monster flaps I find fascinating. So one of the things I'm trying to sort of synthesize into a cogent stream of text in under 7,000 words is this idea about, and I'm still kind of working on this. It has to do with the fact that a monster flap is really dependent on the attention of the media and writers and people who witness these things. And if attention is the fuel for the ecosystem of whatever this sort of thing is that drives these sort of things, and I think this is applicable not just to monsters but also to UFOs and ghost cases and stuff. If it's the attention of the observers that's really the important factor.
Yeah, you had a lot of good examples in there, and I mean, just a lot of stories that you can reference that
absolutely. But I'm wondering, like, when the attention dies in these situations, when the attention falls off, is that what kills it? Is that what kills the monster flap? Is the lack of attention? Like, the attention is the oxygen, is the food for these things? And I think it maybe is. So one of the things I'm really sort of dealing with is, from a memetic standpoint, if you were using memes as the model, or if you were using viruses as the model, whatever you want to call it, you have this sort of rise. So you have, like, the story happens, and then there's like an exponential growth because everybody's wanting to know about the story, and then it sort of levels off, and then it plummets. And to me, that reminds me of the population studies of Malthus. And so from an evolutionary standpoint, like there was this whole idea that in evolution, you've got these situations where it doesn't really have to do with evolution, it has to do with population. But Malthus talked about exponential growth of populations, but arithmetic growth of food sources. And so if the food can't keep up with the population can grow only to a certain point, and then it'll plummet because of lack of resources.
But
Now,
this is also the kind of thing that can come back again and have a resurgence.
Well, that's the fight, right? This is, even though there's a biological model within, or at least an evolutionary model within memetics, it's not true biology, right? You're exactly right. Yeah. These stories lie like seeds waiting to be regrown in a new soil, the new crop of attention. So it's very interesting.
It is. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Again, it's a fascinating topic and something you could write a book on, really. Start with the paper and then work on a book.
Exactly. And then we also have, I don't want to talk about it too much because I need to write it up, but we've got exciting new information about the Watertown ghost case, which I've shared with you. But
and
really,
where are you going to publish the new information?
I'm going to approach 40 Times and see if they want to publish a follow-up. If they don't,
that's a good idea.
Somewhere else. But I have to say, I did not expect that. I was delighted to find what I found, and I'm very excited to write it up. And I found 2 really exciting updates to the story that I am thrilled about. So
yeah, well, I think this is just a great example to show that these kinds of stories, that it's always something you can delve into again. That if someone writes a book or writes an article on a particular topic, it's something that you can revisit again, and there's always new information to be found. And because you get that kind of mentality sometimes in skepticism where someone thinks, I wrote a book on this topic, or I wrote an article, this is definitive. No one needs to reinvent the wheel or write anything more. But I think it's just a good lesson that if you keep digging, there's always going to be more.
Exactly. I'm letting Matthew know that when we add Brian, we see no video, we hear no audio. So
and yeah, so it just in my chat, text chat with him on the side, it seems like Matt might be joining us instead, and I think we'll need to postpone Brian at this point.
Yeah, Brian's looking at,
but we know we have.
He's 25 minutes late. He's not a PhD. I think we can all leave class
He's
now.
Unfashionably late at this point.
So this is so JP Varga 5 is asking, have we considered doing an episode on the gray aliens? Yes, in fact.
And we had that question last week, and we didn't
exactly.
tackle it. So, yes,
we have actually. I've actually just rewatched Communion, the movie. I finished it like the middle of the week.
I need to do so too. Yeah,
and I'm going to. I started the book years ago. I never finished it, and I've got a nice copy of it, the same copy, and I'm going to actually finish reading it now. So. It's interesting because, like, the gray aliens. What's that?
It's a thick book.
No, it's not that bad. It's not that bad. Oh. But I got it. It's the original Communion is this is just a trade paperback kind of thing. But I mean, grays themselves are a broad topic. They cover. I mean, to a small extent, we talked about it a little bit with the Betty Barney Hill case recently.
Yeah.
And then. Yeah. So Matthew wants to join?
I think so. He said he would in a couple of minutes. Yeah. So I think he's
okay. We'll see what happens.
Going to try.
Maybe nobody can join with video because I don't see him either. What's going on? So weird.
Yeah, I think I can still hear him yapping on in the background. So he's.
Yeah. So that's weird. But anyway, grays are a great topic. They're really interesting. I think we could talk about the evolution of aliens in media. We could talk about the grays in particular and how they fit into modern UFO lore. I mean, we've kind of talked about all that before in talking about the Nordics and the rise of ufology and all that sort of stuff. But yeah,
I agree. Yeah, it's a broad topic, and we've touched upon it in the past, but absolutely to devote a show to it for sure.
So one of the questions is, who are the people in the Monster Talk opening? There's Nimoy and the guy from Mysterious Monsters, right? And then who's the third? So she says something like, it's like nothing we've ever seen before, right? So that's obscure AF. All right. Oh, there's Matthew. But I'll answer that question. Let me bring Matthew in. Maybe he's coming in. 3, 2, 1. There you go. So to answer the question, the third voice that you hear is from unused footage from the TV show Monster Quest. When the show was still on the air, they had a bunch of extra interviews with just various people on the website. And one of the people on there was a woman who said, "It's like nothing I've ever seen before." And I thought, I was really looking for a clip that said, "I know what I saw," but I couldn't, as much as I see that written, I couldn't find any good audio at the time. And I thought, well, that's a close approximation.
How'd you get access to that then?
The internets. So, yes.
Well, we should welcome Matt Baxter. He's joined us in lieu of Brian Brushwood.
No, I'm Brian Brushwood. This is Brian Brushwood here.
So, you know what I should do? I
should
change our text on screen so to say not Brian.
Well, let me at least explain what was going on. Now, Brian has a very, very technological and expansive studio.
He does.
He's a bit of a YouTube god. And the problem is none of his equipment would work with BeLive. Yep. So he's trying to connect all these different cameras to it, and it's not letting him. And the thing is I'm seeing him, through as we're FaceTiming this whole time, and I'm seeing his picture come up, through BeLive. It's saying that it works, and right, I did have a mohawk there. Anyway, sorry, I get so distracted by little things all the time. Anyway, no puns.
My wife.
Squirrels, yeah.
So yeah, we grabbed a different laptop, and it was doing the exact same thing for some reason. And I'm wondering now if it isn't some sort of issue with his maybe his internet. Maybe he has a VPN that's messing with his IP address, that's causing BeLive to go, "Well, I don't understand what you're doing." So
yeah, we might have to sort out something else, Google Hangouts or some other platform.
We're gonna get together and we're gonna work through it and make BeLive work. And he says just let him know whenever we're ready to go again, and he'll be there for it.
Sounds good, but I'm really.
This sounds a little bit too much like planning. I prefer all my go live situations to be kind of like a movie where the bomb's like a countdown and it's going to blow.
There's the ghost baby.
Yeah.
People have been asking about the ghost child.
Yes.
I
just got a message that the ghost baby needs to go potty. So we'll see if he's back in a few minutes.
Much as we need to hear there, but I'm really digging this format here where it says not Brian Brushwood, because feasibly we could invite anyone on. We could say we've got Stephen Fry next week, right? And then everyone tunes in, and then we can say not Stephen Fry.
I'm excited to hear about Stephen Fry coming on. That's great.
We can disappoint people every week. This is great.
I really enjoyed his most recent podcast. It was great. It was on the 7 Deadly Sins. So,
but to your point, Karen, I think we do disappoint people every week. So just keep that trend going, and I think we'll
keep it up. But I think what we should talk about maybe is the Ask a Paranormal Investigator series that you've been doing for MonsterTalk YouTube channel.
Sure. I was actually going to start my own YouTube channel, and I still might at some point. But I thought, how great would it be to just have a little thing going where people can send me questions. They can send me photos and videos that they want me to take a look at because they're being positioned as being paranormal. So I tend to.
It's Joe the pilot.
Famous pilot Joe Anderson is with us in the chat room. So yeah, I thought it would be fun to go ahead and start with the things that come through Monster Talk, the Facebook group, because people are always posting great stuff in that Facebook group. So I think it's a great opportunity to start and do a couple of them. And I'm just trying to be. I used to be a real jerk when it comes to analyzing these things. Heavily into scientific skepticism, and I tended to be a little mean about things. But now that I've grown so old, I tend to be a lot more gentle and giving. And the thing is that's kind of how you should be, because when you're so sure of yourself, you tend to be wrong more often than not. So,
well, and I think if you take a very that's wrong kind of approach, people they don't tend to go, oh, is that? Tell me more. They tend to like shields up,
Conversation stopper for sure.
This is the hostile workplace. Jeez.
We've had someone comment that we should be inviting deceased guests onto the show. So I think next week we should have Houdini.
Sure, why not?
Sure. Or Ozzy Osbourne.
He could be here now. Ozzy's dead? What? I just found out. What?
Or Elvis, because, it's 50-50.
Oh, that's hilarious. Elvis dead. Right.
So we were talking about your new channel. Do you want to talk a little bit about the latest video that you uploaded a few days ago? There was a lot of demand for this one to be analyzed.
Yeah, the Pixies. Wow. So there's this guy, I think his name is Irwin, if I remember right. Kind of an older gentleman that's out in the dense forests of Great Britain, looking for pixies. And he's seen them numerous times, and he wanted to get out there and with a camera and actually capture them.
Isn't he concerned that most of his photos would be pixelated?
Take a drink, everyone. Well, they've already found fairies there, so why not pixies,
Right. Oh, I'm wearing my Mothman shirt. Sorry. I realized it was cut off earlier.
So it's Kevin Spacey's career. That's funny. It is dead.
Wow.
So yeah, it's a very interesting video because after a long time and many failures, as he's looking into the camera, and he's blurry, and the ledge behind him is in perfect focus, which is interesting. I'm not sure what he's using, but he managed to get all that in focus first, because if you were using a phone or something like that, which would probably be better out in the woods to not scare away pixies, you'd want to have something small. But he seems to have something that's got autofocus, or not, it doesn't have manual focus, so he can actually focus up on the ledge and keep himself out of focus. But as he's looking into the little viewfinder, he can see the smallest little thing up on that ledge, which I find amazing that he's getting away with that. I can't do that. But it also seems like his facial hair and his ragged hair look older than his actual face. So
he's blurry.
Well, in this one little scene, he's blurry. But when he's in focus, he looks younger than his facial hair.
Yeah.
And so it makes you wonder, is his beard real?
It's a disguise. It's a costume, makeup, and
gotcha. Because that's a second level illusion spell. Blur is. So I was just wondering.
Yes. Well, and that's the interesting thing is that the pixie that shows up looks a lot like Dobby from Harry Potter.
Oh, Dobby.
Dobby. Oh, well, I messed that up. I guess I'll take away my.
Way to go, Muggle. Whatever.
But I think that it's interesting in that every week, several things are coming out, several videos or photographs that people are wanting some more information on. So this has just been a really fun thing that we've been doing. Well, it's Matt's project.
Yeah, it's fantastic. We appreciate it. I'm excited that you're giving us content here. That's kind of our Monster Talk plan, right? So let's keep growing the YouTube channel. So
absolutely, we started a bit late.
I want to start doing some reaction videos, and either with Karen or with Blake and Karen, or however you guys want to do it.
Some with Blade.
Blade is not. I've tried doing reaction videos with Blade. We did a reaction video to Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train, and he was loving it. And then about halfway through, he just walked away.
We should do a reaction video to an unboxing of the Lament configuration.
That would be brilliant.
I'll just get up and walk away. Yeah.
That would be wise. And you wouldn't even know why you were walking away, other than this is stupid to you. I want to do some reaction videos on some, either ghost hunting type videos, where you've got a team out there ghost hunting, or whether it's from the show Ghost Hunters, Ghost Adventures, or whatever, just clips that people tend to enjoy to actually react to them and analyze them, analyze what they're doing and what we think of their methods. And I think
that's what we do at home anyway, isn't it?
Exactly.
Full of popcorn.
It's all riff tracks or Mystery Science Theater 3000, no matter what we're doing. So I think that we should absolutely do some reactions like that. I think it would be a lot of fun, but we'll see. We'll see what happens if people like them.
Cool,
we were
cool.
also talking about the next episode of Based on a True Story, how we're going to be talking about The Exorcist and how excited you are.
I'm a little excited, maybe. It sounds like it might be fun. I'm looking forward to it. I definitely think it could be a two-parter quite easily, just because there's so much to talk about.
Yeah, that's what Blake was saying as well.
And Blake, have you had a chance to look at any of that Turkish version of The Exorcist yet?
No, but I appreciate the link. I'm looking forward to it. I'm staying away from social media, as we know, and I'm also trying to kind of stay focused until I get this.
Doing a really great job.
Oh yeah, it's great.
Just YouTube,
just hanging out on YouTube. No, I am trying to finish this paper. I owe this paper. It's 2 weeks late now. I'm feeling really terrible about that. But as soon as that's done,
you can pay someone to write it for you.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Probably for about $5.
Right? Yeah. So I'm gonna hit Fiverr.com and just finish this thing up. No, I'm working hard. I really need to get this done. But I feel I love the research. That's, as we know, that's a problem because it can be addictive, right? So. Anyway, no, I haven't had a chance to look at it, but I'm excited about it. I haven't
pretty much a shot for shot.
We have premium content on the on Patreon, and I watch Sasquatch movies, and I'm doing reviews of those movies. And I've got one that I'm in the works on for a movie called Bigfoot. I think it has an exclamation point. That's the vodka doing the grammar here. But it's got Robert Mitchum's got two of Robert Mitchum's sons in it, and John Carradine. And the tagline is Bigfoot. It mates with anything, and I'm like, yeah, this is my no. It's quite a treat. So I haven't forgotten the bonus content for Patreon. Have y'all guys heard about this virus? Anyway, it's been terrible. So I've been trying to keep my morale up and still get work done and all this kind of thing. But once I get this paper finished, I will be a lot freer to do some of these other things. So I'm very excited about that. So it is not like, by the way, it's not like I'm procrastinating. It's the opposite. I'm reading, and I need to stop, synthesize, finish, submit. So. Yeah.
Well, I was wondering, since we've got Matt on, we should treat him like a proper guest and maybe ask him, Matt, do you want to tell us about an investigation that you've done or you've done a lot of investigations focusing on Denver and Colorado in general, but I wonder if there's a story you'd like to tell us. Sorry to put you on the spot.
I have a story. And I have a lot of stories, but this story, tomorrow night, I'm going to be interviewed for Banachek's podcast, Banachek's Brain. And the problem is Banachek and I have some history. We've been friends for quite a few years now. And
saucy? Some history?
not that kind of history. I don't call him Banny or anything. So, but
inside joke.
Yeah, it is. But the thing is years ago, he was running the amazing meeting, $100 million, the $1 million paranormal challenge at the amazing meeting, the James Randi $100 million paranormal challenge. So that is, if you can prove you have paranormal powers, you win $1 million if it can be tested under scientific conditions. Well, so we, for several years, kind of had control of it, and we were setting all the protocols in place and everything. And then one year, Banachek had to be on tour with Chris Angel, and somebody else took over that year. And so I suddenly was out of the mix. I wasn't able to be part of the protocols. And I started noticing that there were a lot of problems with the protocols. Now they had this guy, I can't remember, I think he was from Hungary or something, but he believed that he could remote view. And he was going to remote view into a room in Las Vegas in the casino that we were in, and tell us what was on a particular table in that room with his powers while he's in Hungary. So sure, we're I think it's really interesting. We walk by the room.
Remember this at the time, Blake?
I don't remember this particular one. No.
Okay.
You might, because you might have become privy to it during this. We're going to call this a caper more than anything.
Okay.
A jape.
Yeah, it's kind of a little bit of an Ocean's 11 kind of thing.
Yeah.
But so we walk by and we see this room is taped up. It's got double doors, but it's taped up with this gaffer's tape, so like you can't peek in or whatever. I don't really know. I'm gonna go ahead and spoil the end of it and say that I actually was able to see into this room myself using dowsing rods.
Yeah,
but I'll get
not
to
remote
that
viewing.
Yeah,
did you use the dowsing rods to pick the lock?
I'll reveal. In fact, I might even have the dowsing rods here. I'll have to see if I can dig them up and show you.
I can't find my dowsing rods. A pendulum stat.
So it's making me think though that in Las Vegas, is anything, not surrounded by cameras. I mean, a hotel.
Cameras everywhere. Now the thing is we start noticing that a lot of their protocols are, how shall I say, shit. And I can't tell the story tomorrow night for Banachek because he doesn't really want anyone to know that I was messing with the $1 Million Challenge. So,
you were trying to prove that someone could mess with it. You weren't a hostile.
I wasn't out to win the $1 million. I was there to show that this was
you were
not
proving there were
protocol.
Loopholes with their protocol.
Exactly, and that's what I was noticing. For one, you got a room that's taped up, but the room next to it is accessible. The room behind it is accessible, and these are just basically small sort of. What would you call those rooms? They're kind of like interview rooms or whatever that they used to
breakout spaces, right?
Yeah, breakout spaces.
Yeah.
So
not spaces you need to break out of, but like extra spaces that you can go into, right? Yeah.
So we were trying to break in.
Right. They're called break-in spaces, right? Exactly.
Yes. Well, they are now.
In this case, yeah.
So the thing is we're kind of noticing that there's a lot of problems with how they set this up. And then number two, we find out that this guy from Hungary actually has a confidant there in the hotel. And we're like, this is not good. He got there the day before the conference even started, before the room was locked and taped up, because no one can break through tape. No human can break through tape. So, he was there before they had even done that. They were putting stuff in the room when that confidant was there. And so we're like, this is ridiculous. This is not a good way to do this. So Banachek got to actually attend a little bit of the conference as they were coming through and everything. So I talked to him and I said, do you mind if we basically break the $1 Million Challenge? And he looks at me and he's like, you kind of have to. I understand. Don't get caught. Okay, no problem. We're not going to get caught. So, immediately the first thing I do is I'm wearing my traditional uniform of the day, which was a black suit and a bright green tie. And I went storming down to the front desk and said, we've got a problem. There's $1 Million Challenge that's going to be going on. We've got a room up there taped up. And we found out that the guy that's applying for the challenge has a confidant here in Vegas. You need to let us into that room or at least show us the camera feed from that room so we know that nothing's been tampered with. Well, they fell for it flat. Social engineering, Brian Brushwood would be proud.
And not Brian Brushwood.
Not Brian Brushwood would be proud. So they immediately showed us all the camera feeds. Lo and behold, there was not a camera in that room. So, okay, that was good that there's not a camera in there. But at the same time, damn, now we have to figure out something different. So we didn't want to ask them to actually let us in at that point because that would be too obvious. In front of everybody here, we are getting let in when we're not actually a part of the $1 Million Challenge. So we started looking at other options. We got into the rooms next door. We looked at all the electrical outlets, and we're pulling out, all the electrical stuff to try to see if we can see anything. We tried to climb over the top, pushing the ceiling tiles out.
Classic.
Yeah, we looked in there and it just didn't look like we were going to be able to. So I got a hold of the actual architect of the building, and he explained that the firewall inside there, and a real firewall, not a computer one, goes up so high that there's really no way for us to see over it and get over to the other side. So after putting everything back together that we had taken apart, we were really at a loss on how we were going to do this. And then I discovered that because of here's a phrase that a lot of magicians use when they feel like they're doing something that is so obvious the audience should see them and catch them in the act of this. It's don't run if you're not being chased. So act very relaxed and just do what you're going to do. And 9 times out of 10, nobody notices. So we thought, okay, what we're going to have to do is we mapped out where all the cameras were pointing when they showed us the camera feeds earlier. So we mapped out where we could stand and not be seen by the cameras. They had security guards actually posted up on that floor over by the escalators, and then one was down the hall and around the corner. And then so 6 o'clock in the morning, several of us go down there, and Karen was actually one of them. And what we did is in the room next to it, they had a great big screen that had, James Randi Educational Foundation all over it for photo ops. Mm-hmm. And so what we did is several of us went into that room and took the screen out and just started walking down the hallway with this screen. And it was at the same time, Karen is walking with a big box of my t-shirts. They were a t-shirt that had the imprint of a black suit with a green tie.
They weren't all yours though.
So all mine. So she's walking down the hallway with this big box, and right as she gets in front of this room, she drops the box, and t-shirts go everywhere.
I was award-winning that fall. Yeah.
It was perfect. So we set down the screen right in front of that door, so we're blocked. So 2 guys run over to help her pick up the t-shirts while I am back behind the screen pulling up the tape. And what I did is I took my iPhone, taped to a dowsing rod, mm-hmm. slid it under the door, took it to the center where the seam was in the center of the 2 doors, brought it up and looked around the room, and then brought it back down. So I took a video of everything in the room, put it back, and then I put the tape back and stood back up. We walked away with the screen. She had the t-shirts, and clean as day. It was just perfectly
done. That security guard wasn't there. I think he was down the end of the hall talking to.
But he started coming down. Remember, we had one of our guys.
But not because he was suspicious.
No, not. He was just coming, kind of doing his rounds. And we had one of our guys that was supposed to keep a lookout and then give us this sort of call, alert, a kind of thing. But what it was,
we went through the same default call. That's really funny. Okay, so
yeah. So what it was he would say, "Yeah, I'm going to go get myself some coffee." If he saw a security guard coming.
Don't you mean coffee? Okay.
Coffee. So, and the thing
because it was early in the morning. It was what, 6 a.m., 5:30,
yes.
6 a.m.
Yes. So I had a water bottle that had gaffer's tape wrapped around it because I had to replace the gaffer's tape that I had pulled off.
Delicious gafferfina.
I remember getting that. You got that from a technician who was running.
From one of the technicians for the audio visual aspect of the conference. So I just walked up. Can I get some gaffer's tape? It turned out it was the exact same gaffer's tape that they had used. He's like, yeah, you're the second guy to borrow it from me in a couple days. So it was the same roll. So I just wrapped a bunch around this water bottle, and as I'm down there trying to put the tape back, and it's all wrinkling up, so I knew I had to tear it off and put down new tape. I hear that he wants to get a cup of coffee, and so I'm like ripping this tape off, and it's making that loud sound. And he's like, I really, really would like to get some coffee now. And his voice is cracking and everything. As I'm putting the tape down and getting it on. And just as he walks around the corner, up we go and walk away with the screen. Nobody had any idea the entire time. So we wrote down what was on the table in there and gave it to Banachek, because Banachek was actually going to be there to kind of announce whether or not this guy was able to remote view into this room. Mm-hmm. And if he was, and he's very concerned about this because this could give the JREF a black eye.
It would have been awarding the $1 million to someone for a hoax, and they would have had egg on their face for sure.
Definitely. So the thing is if this guy was able to read into that room, then Banachek would have been able to reveal that we were too. But if he wasn't able to, he wanted to keep it quiet because it also wasn't cool that we broke the $1 million challenge behind everyone's back.
Right.
Now I have to say that one of the strange things that happened in all of this is Teller from Penn and Teller happened to be walking down the hallway when I'm really racking my brain over this. And so I said, there's a problem with the $1 million challenge. And I explained it to him, what was going on. And he said a very odd thing. He said, that's my $1 million. I still don't know what to make of that.
That meant that he was fronting up the money in the event that someone would win.
Yeah, I don't know if he was fronting the entire $1 million or if he was fronting a portion of it. But he had a personal sort of
stake
attachment to that. Yeah, he was a stakeholder, definitely. So I was able to pull in Teller to talk to him about what we could do. And I told him the plan, and he was like, oh, man. He's like, I cannot think of anything better than that. He's like, that's a really good plan. Cool. He's like, the only thing I can do at this point is offer you money to, like, if you need to buy cameras or something. Yeah, and it was like, no, we don't need any money. It's just, who better? He's like, well, keep in touch with me on this. So it's weird as I'm doing things, all of a sudden I'm getting a call from Teller, going, what's going on? What's going on? So that was kind of a fun little added thing that Teller would be calling me. I think
it chewed up the whole conference for us, though, just planning this. And
yes, yeah.
So do you refer?
They say Sam takes place in the halls, and that year it did.
Is it Remotions 11?
Take a drink. People were complaining there weren't enough puns, so you're making good time.
We need to fix that. So
so it's been our little secret, really. But I think that
that's really not been told by anyone. So that Banachek was able, after the guy failed completely, and was not able to read into that room at all. Banachek was able to kind of pat his little pocket where he had the solution from us and not reveal it to anyone. And
I think
good.
You could even make an educated guess as to the kinds of things. So I don't remember now what was actually in the room.
There was it was complicated. It was like a
teddy bear or something.
There was a stuffed elephant. It was a stuffed elephant, and there were several other things I can't recall at this time.
This reminds me. It's funny. We have you get those junk drawers in your house. Do you have a junk drawers here and there? Like the drawers you put stuff into, and then like you go in later and there's like all these weird assortment of things. We had a dresser. Well, okay, it might just be us, but we have a junk drawer in my bedroom. And at one point, we've been married about 10 years, and I opened up this drawer in my dresser. It's like this big central drawer.
Rubik's Cube, yeah.
No. All that was in the drawer was a teddy bear, a harmonica, and a bunch of rope. It was weird. It was like
a fun weekend.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know what to make of all this, but it really bothered me. How did this all accrue in here? A teddy bear, a harmonica.
Was it you or was it someone else?
No, I think individually over 10 years, people just stuck stuff in the drawer. And then like one day I opened the drawer, I'm like, what's going on? It's like, what's this creepy. For? What party night has Kathleen got planned? Because it's getting weird, It's a little weird.
That was your birthday surprise.
Here's the dowsing rod.
Nice.
I had to bend it a little bit, but it still has.
What is that? An Australian dowsing rod? You throw it away and it comes back and tells you what it saw?
Yeah, like I said, I had to bend it a little bit.
Yeah.
It used to be able to hold it like that, but now
it's like a boomerang.
Yeah, now it tells you where the stuffed elephant is. But
this is the Clinton of dowsing rods. What in the world have you got there?
But I think they were pretty mundane things, and they were the kinds of things that you really could have guessed as well. Was a coat hanger or something, and a pen. I mean, they were just really basic things that you could feasibly guess.
Wow.
Well, it was, the thing is, but you probably wouldn't have, because they were so mundane. But here's the other one, so you can see it is a normal dowsing rod. So that's the other one, and then here's this one. So, but it was very valuable that day. I'm very, very happy to have had it.
Yeah, the fun times.
Glitter Flutterby says maybe the reappearing doll put that stuff in the drawer. That's funny. So,
oh yes, yeah.
That's creepy.
Yeah. So, oh, by the way, I don't know. Have I apologized? I forget, because we went to.
It's never enough.
We went to see Robert the Doll in December, and I didn't apologize, and now all this is going on. So sorry.
Well, yeah, I think you single-handedly brought on the coronavirus.
I think that's exactly what happened. Everything.
All the problems with the show.
My bad, America. Yeah. My bad. So.
What you can do, though, you can fix that, though. You can write to the museum.
In all seriousness, hold on.
You can apologize.
In all seriousness, we went to the museum and it was great. We loved it, right? So this is in Key West, Florida. Key West? Yeah, and while we were there at the museum, everything's kind of expensive. It's a nice museum, but like the gift shop is. You go through the gift shop to enter, you go through the gift shop to leave. And we got all the way home, and oh my God, we must have dropped $250 in the gift shop. We've got so much Robert the Doll stuff, which is fine. But Kathleen, she got this, she's like, and I got this cool stack of these promotional stickers. And I was like, really? She's like, yeah, they were just right there by the register. I just got a stack of them. I was like, baby, those are like $1.50 each. And she had like 25 of them. Oh my God. She just picked them up, put them in the bag. But I feel confident that we spent enough that they didn't lose any money. But damn. But
yeah, I think that just adds more to the reason that we're going through all of this suffering.
I guess that's my point. This is all really
so write that letter.
Yes, exactly.
Apologize to Robert and
I'll send back the stickers. Yeah, it's all good. But no, we love the museum. But yeah, the allure of a curse to explain all your problems is so seductive, because it would be so much easier than believing that the universe is just stupid.
So, everything's random and chaotic. And
I agree. Everybody, please subscribe if you haven't, and click the like button, please. That definitely helps as well. And comment below if you're watching this when it's not live.
Leave comments.
Know what else what you'd like to see on here.
Matthew, you've been popping up and lurking around in here. Have you ever told us what your favorite monster is?
I don't think he has. I don't think he's told me.
Pazuzu.
Oh, I was thinking of a good mother-in-law joke there, but.
It's funny. I was doing some research, and before The Exorcist, Pazuzu was basically a good guy. I feel really bad.
Not really. I mean, he was used in good ways. Is the thing. It's like, pregnant women would wear a Pazuzu pendant and stuff to ward off other evil, because he was a badass. Yeah. And that was the thing. But yeah, he was pretty much Lord of the Flies, the bringer of the locusts, all that kind of stuff, and not a real pleasant guy. But yeah, he could be used for good. They basically fighting fire with fire. There is that line in The Exorcist: "Evil against evil."
Yes.
Yeah. Evil eye. But I think you just like saying Pazuzu.
It is fun. It is fun. And I unfortunately, I don't want to say unfortunately. Should be nice. I do know the actress who played Pazuzu in The Exorcist, and I will not bring her on the show. The last time I talked to her, she did say that my mother sucks cocks in hell. She actually did say that to me. So
now we can't monetize this episode. Thanks.
I can beat that out.
Yeah.
But yeah, Eileen Dietz is quite a character, to say the very least. But we'll steer clear of her. She was also in Hookers for Jesus, just in case anybody cares.
Hookers for Jesus. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice.
That's not nice. Maybe that's not nice at all.
I think that's maybe not. But I think that's the first time anyone's ever said Pazuzu on this show.
Is it?
200 episodes.
Well, her favorite monster, anyway.
Well, there's a favorite monster.
Well, that's true. That's true. Well,
and I have another Pazuzu story the next time we have technical difficulties like that.
We'll have an opportunity. Apparently, we're going to be skipping to the Blake tap dances episode if I don't get out of here and go to the restroom. So let's wind this up. Thank you so much for joining us. We apologize about the loss of Brian Brushwood, but we will.
Thank you, not Brian Brushwood.
Yes, but thank you for Matthew for filling in for Schwood. Your hair is
so much.
Less spectacular.
We'll figure this out. We'll have Brian on again.
Exactly. All right, and again, please, if you get a chance, subscribe to our channel and like us on Facebook and join us.
Share the episodes.
Share the episode. Patreon.com/MonsterTalk, where you will get bonus content eventually. I swear. Okay. And now I'm going to make my escape to the rest.